$1 million a month in a year, which I think everyone on this call would like to do the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, so I would say the main thing is like my first year in the business, um, when I was doing around like 400, even 500,000 a month, like it was just me. Like I was the only one moving. I was the only one, recruiting at a high level, like actually like actively trying to build my business. And it was very difficult to scale because it was just me and I had all these directs. I didn't have any solid legs on my team. And I understood that once I started to find like-minded people that, not just were willing to like work their ass off, but also like wanted to recruit, wanted to build, figure out how to train people, tap root into their markets, then I knew we'd actually grow. So I would credit a lot of my success as far as like us growing very, very fast over the last 6 to 12 months from me finding like-minded people and then just duplicating myself exactly what I did to get to, 400, 500 a month, and then plug it into their business so then they can grow to the same point. And then in return, we'll start doing, 1.5 to 2 million and, so on. So it took me probably around 7 to 8 months to find my first couple, like really, really solid people. I had really good people in my business when I was doing 400,000 a month. Got a lot of good salespeople. No one actually wanted to build. No one credit everything to finding the right leaders, anywhere from two, three people, pouring into them and helping them see like the vision I saw for myself. And then once I saw that they had the same vision, then I just ran the exact play that I got to, 400,000 a month, which is why, now I have 10, 12 solid leaders that are actively building, which is why we're growing very quick.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about duplicating yourself a lot. Trey was on last week, and he's been doing this business for a really long time. He started as Andrew's recruiter, actually, and we talked a lot about instead of having to recruit 1,000 people, it's if you teach 5 people to recruit 5 to 10 people and mentor them, then you can grow a lot faster, right? So when you're saying duplicate yourself, what are the things you're trying to teach? You have someone come in, they're they're at the office, or they're checking all the boxes, right? They're working hard, they're buying enough leads, they're showing up, they have a good attitude. What are you teaching them to duplicate yourself? Like, what are the things you're going, okay, you need to do this, this, and this, and then you'll get to
Mhm.
200K a month. And then if you do this, this, and this, you'll get to 400K a month. Like, what are the steps you lay out for them to get those next levels?
Yeah, of course. No, it's a really good question. Well, first things first is like I don't think when people bring, new guys in the business, they really like help explain the actual business, which is what prevents them from building early on. Like I'm a very big believer of you should recruit and build right away. Because if your main goal is to, run a team, get off the phones eventually, like it'd be very stupid for you not to like actively be recruiting or at least thinking to like about it early on. So the first thing I'm doing is like I'm going over their goals and I'm actually like breaking down the business. The best thing that I do to help them realize why they should recruit and if it's something that they want to do, like they'll start doing it, is like simply like pulling out my calculator. Yo, bro, like, do you want to build a team? Okay, cool. Let me just show you this because this blew my mind when I first learned about it. And I'm like, all right, let's say you're at 110% comp. You bring a new guy in, he's at 85. You have a 25% spread on him. Let's say our average guy does about 15 grand a month. If you have 5 of them, now you have a team doing 125,000 a month. Times the 0.75 advance, times 25%. Dude, you're making 17,000 a month in overrides off of 5 people. That's like besides your personal sales. And when they like can see that by you doing the math and understanding how much money they can be making, and on top of like them also changing people's lives, their mindset towards the entire business changes. So I encourage like anyone that has guys that come in that struggle to recruit or don't want to, just pull out your calculator, show them the numbers. So like that's the first thing I do with a lot of people. Now, besides that, I break down exactly like my mindset, what I did when I started. And my goal when I started was to sell 40,000 a month issue paid as fast as possible. Because I knew if I could do 40,000, I could teach someone how to do 20,000 with my eyes closed. And if I could teach someone how to do 20,000, they're going to make 10 grand a month profit. And everyone in the world wants to make 10 grand a month profit. So my goal was to get to 40 as fast as possible. So then when I bring people in, they'll actually make money. Now, that's what I instill in my guys. Yo, bro, the most important thing when you're building is we don't want to have a ton of turnover. The last thing I want is for you to bring 20 people in and them all fail because you don't know how to sell. So right now, 90% of your time, your first 3 months is going to be spent towards selling. 12 hours a day intentionally dialing, trying to spend as much money on leads. We want to get to 1,000 a week as fast as possible. Once you're doing that, you're consistently selling. We're spending 1,200, 1,500. So like helping them understand, yo, dude, as you start making some money, like it's going straight back in the business. It's really, really important that they understand that early. But it's important that they also have like the goal of why they're shooting for a certain number. Because if I just told someone, hey, yeah, go out and sell 40K a month, like they might do it. But if they understand if they can sell 40, it's going to help them attract more people. And then as they attract those people, they'll stick. So instilling like the work ethic as far as like the 12 hours a day is very, very important. But I think most people don't move quick in the business because they don't really know what they're looking for. They don't really have like goals set in place. So I'm very good at breaking down goals, but also explaining like why they should hit certain numbers. And I want people to be selling at least 40,000 a month as fast as possible and then spending 10 to 20% of their day and typically just at night, so it's not like ruining their dial time, actually like actively building and recruiting, and then just simply breaking down those numbers. People move with a lot of urgency because they want to start making that income, they want to start building. But if you set those goals in place, you break down the numbers to them. Those are the main things that like I'm duplicating, because if I can just duplicate my mindset in people, they're gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah, and you slow down and explain to people why you're telling them to do certain things. Like you're not just going, hey, spend a lot of money on leads and work 12 hours a day. You're like, hey, if we do these things, then you'll be able to build a team. But you're not just like, I think where a lot of people miss
Exactly.
it is they just go, hey, you need to work this many hours, do this, do that, and they don't explain the why behind anything, right? I saw Deborah post on there. She said, "What are the starting goals?" And I think what Tanner was explaining, I'd love to you can share, you go through it, but I think what he was explaining was like he gets with people and figures out what their goals are, helps them get there, and then helps them stretch those goals out. So when you have new people come on, Tanner, like I know you just told me you just recruited a guy that has a big and like a big market in Austin, right? And can you talk about like give people
Hmm.
an example like hey, you have that guy who's made a lot of money before, and then say you have a new person who's 18 that's never made money before. Like those two conversations are very different. If you have the same conversation, you do both people a disservice, right? So can you kind of go through an example of like, hey, what does it look like talking with the guy that's made a lot of money and has a big, network marketing or social media influence and has made money doing sales before, and then new person, no sales experience, dropped out of college. Like how would those conversations differ and what would they sound like?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean they're definitely completely different. Mainly we're gonna be bringing people in that don't have experience with sales or making money. So like how those conversations look. Like I want them to focus on just getting better every single day. And like that's where most people go wrong is like people come in the business. I mean, same with me. Like I was trying to just make a shit ton of money right away. Now, you can work a lot in this business and not make any money. So I need their mindset and their goal to just be, to get better on a day-to-day basis. Because if they get better on a day-to-day basis over 30, 60, 90 days, like they will have the skill set to start making 10, 15, $20,000 a month. So their goal, their first, month, it's tailored specific to them. So they might see guys come in and rip right away, but like my goal for them is to close 1 to 2 deals their first week. My goal for you is to sell 1 to 2 policies your very first week. And then your second week, I want you to sell 2 to 3. And then your third week, 3 to 5. And then by your fourth week, I want you to be selling at least one policy a day. Now, let's say by your fourth week, you're only selling 3 policies a week. That's totally fine, but you're selling more than you sold your first week. So by the time 30 more days come around, now you're selling 6 policies a week. And then by your third month, you're now selling 9 policies. And a lot of people get discouraged if they don't have an amazing first month or an amazing second month. But what I help them understand is, hey, dude, do you sound a lot better on the phones? Okay, are you getting more presentations every single day? Are you selling more this week than you sold your first week? Okay, cool. So we might not have the results you want, but you're improving every single week. So in 30 days from now, you will continue to improve. And if they start to realize that they're just getting better, they're getting one step closer to their goals. So I break it down like very, very simple. If we don't end up hitting our goals our first month or our second month, then I just switch their mind from, I haven't hit my goals to I've gotten a lot better and I'm getting closer to my goals. And I think setting those like 1 to 2 policies your first week, 2 to 3 your second week, 3 to 5 your third week, and then one a day, by your fourth week helps them kind of visualize what they're shooting for. Because let's say they're 1 week in the business, they haven't sold anything. Dude, our goal is to sell one policy this week. That's our goal. You still have 3 more days to dial. Like you're not behind, bro. Do you sound better from your first day? Okay, dude, so you're good, bro. You just haven't found your buyer yet. Let's keep going. But it's important that they have like something to shoot for. Some people just start and they just work and they get very frustrated when they don't, achieve their results as far as selling. But if our goals are in place and like we're working towards them every single day and we start to improve every single day, like that's where like they get fully bought in on the business. Now, if I'm talking to someone that has made a lot of money and he's coming into the business, it's completely different. I mean, at least like for this guy specifically, like he's mainly just going to be building. So I'm just breaking down the numbers. Like I'm very transparent. Anyone I bring in, like they know how much money I'm making. They know how I'm making the money. They know my comp. They know what my comp was back then. They know spreads work. They know how bonuses, like everything. So I explain the entire business. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is how much money I'm making. This is where I'm at. I got a couple guys at, 120, 115, 125, a lot of guys at 85. And then I'm just breaking down the overrides to them and how my income's increased over the last, year and a half, 2 years. And then when they start to realize like the scalability of the business and also like the freedom aspect long term, they realize that insurance is one of the best vehicles out there because it is. I mean, it's insanely scalable. It's very, very simple. And then if you have a decent presence on social media, like it's very, very easy to recruit. And those people that have decent presences, like I'm like, dude, I have like I had 700 followers when I started the business. I was making $100,000 a month, 9 months in the business from 700 followers. My entire team's built organically. I was making 100,000 a month with like 1,500 followers. Bro, you have like 30,000 followers, dog. Like, let's start marketing this. I'll train your entire team. You don't even need to know how to sell. You have presence on social media, start marketing. I know how to train people. I also have 120 people that can also train your guys. Let's start building right now. And that's kind of how I pitched it to those people.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing, Tanner, I've learned the last couple of years is I think early in the business, I used to be scared to approach people that I thought were really good at business about our business because I thought that they would look down on it. But then what I realized is the more I've
Mm-hmm.
talked to people who have a really high business acumen about what we do, they're like, wow, that's really simple and really scalable. And so I think I would challenge everyone on this call. Like, I'm sure there's someone that comes to your mind when I say that. You're like, I would never approach this guy about it. I talked to a guy this weekend, Tanner, that sold a company for $500 million about our business. And because he was trying to pitch me about working in alcohol distribution with that, I'm like, why don't you do insurance? And think about how much simpler it is and how much less money. And I went through everything with him, and he was like, "Yeah, why would I do it? Why would you do anything besides that business? That's so simple, so scalable, and you don't have to have all this money to put up." Like that was the biggest thing for him. He's like, "Wow, you don't have to have all this overhead that I've had to have." Like I had a couple $100 million of overhead that I was paying a year to build the company I built, you know? And so I think I would challenge everyone, the person you're thinking of, that you're like, that guy would never, that girl would never do this business. Just break it down for them like Tanner did and explain like, hey, if you're at this comp, you have this many people. I train the agents. This is the overrides you make. It's like mind blowing for them when they think about it because they understand how hard it is to make money in their industry and what little it takes to do it in ours. You know, um, Tanner. Next thing I wanted you to touch on, and I think you've done a great job of this, is the importance of getting people. The importance of when you're newer, being in person with people that you're working with, and then as you build a team, like you grew a lot over the last 6 months by getting everyone to come in person with you and training them in person. And I remember you telling me like, hey, I had guys and girls who, were in California or wherever for 3 months and then came into your office in Austin and had their best week right away. Like what is your message to everyone on getting people
Yeah.
in person, having an office and being able to be hands on with people as they're learning the business?
Yeah, having an office like truly changed my business, and that's what allowed us to get to the position that we're in and then where like we're going to. I just don't think we would have scaled as quick if I didn't have an office. And I also think because my first 10 months was virtual. Like I scaled to 500,000 a month team all virtual. Now, I think we would have gotten way further if we had an office early on. So what I've noticed is bringing people in person, why it's super important for not just you, but for them also, is a lot of people early on in business, they don't have belief. Like they don't feel like they could be at, Zach's level early on. But if they go out and they meet Zach in person and they see how he operates and they ask him a lot of questions and they see some of the guys, new to the business that have been, seen the results that they want, they see how they work, they see how they speak. It becomes a lot more real. The business didn't really become real to me until I met a lot of people in the business. Because you go around, you hear all these guys making 10, 15, 20, $100,000 a month. None of that seems real. It didn't seem real to me as well. But when you bring them in person and you sit them right next to each other, like, oh, this guy runs the same leads I run. He runs the same script that I run. He works the same hours I'm about to work. Then they can start to see like, oh shit, so if I just do exactly what all these people are doing, most important thing. Because Zoom, I mean, yeah, you can kind of dial in a solid culture, but if you have an office of even if it's only 10 to 15 people, but they all want each other to win, everyone's helping each other. When you're scaling, virtual, it's just a little bit harder to like be very hands-on with people. But when you're in person, you can have all these people helping each other. So like I got guys coming to the office. If I'm a little bit busy, I just sit him next to someone else. If that guy's busy, sits him next to someone else. And then you can kind of buy back your time and leverage the other people. I think the main thing is the belief level. It goes through the roof when you see people in person. You see them doing exactly what you're doing, but just getting the different result. They can't really complain and whine anymore. And then also it builds like a very, very solid team culture. And cultures in my opinion, that's the number one thing that's getting us to where we are. It is a lot of things that we do is very great, but I think the one thing that's really helping us to move is our culture. And our culture is solely based off of working our ass off, making as much money as possible, and then also helping everyone reach their goals. Because we have, like in my current office, we have about 45 people. Now, not everyone's directly under each other, but the beautiful thing is we only want people in here that want to make a lot of money and want to work their ass off. So what I mean by that is like if there's someone that's new to the business and he's not seeing the results. All 45 of us want to make sure he gets the results because we don't want any bums in our office. So if you get everyone in person, you have a really, really solid culture, everyone's going to start to help each other. Everyone's going to start to buy in on the vision. And once like everyone's fully bought in on the vision, everyone's helping each other, dude, there's no reason why you cannot scale. So I encourage anyone to do like even lock-ins are very, very beneficial. And also like the relationships that you just build by just being in person, you're gonna want to kill for each other. And like when you have that solid, solid relationship with every single person on your team, it doesn't matter if someone out and about's trying to recruit your team, like they're unrecruitable. No one will be able to take people if you have really, really good relationships. They feel very, very, comfortable at the office with like their long-term growth, and they can really see it. It changes the game. So I definitely encourage anyone to either get an office or, run a bunch of lock-ins. And I mean, it was actually crazy because I was talking to one of my boys. His first month, was 10 months ago. He was explaining like when he came down to Austin, he's from California. He came down his third month for literally just 1 week. He had his best week, but we only had 6 people in the office that week. So even if it's a small group, it doesn't really matter how many people. It just matters of like, are they working their ass off? Do they all have a vision together? Because a small group can take over the world eventually. You just have to get everyone around the fire. Which is why like I bought a house recently down here to start moving people down because I just believe that it's not even that I believe. I just look at my team numbers. All of the dogs all work in office.
Yeah, 100%. Now I think the downside to that potentially is if you don't work hard, like Tanner works really hard. We were messaging on Instagram on Saturday because he's like, I forgot my office key and no one's at the office to let me in yet, and he's there at 9 a.m., right? But if you don't work hard and you get an office and you're never there, then your guys and girls on your team will go like, oh, this guy don't work. So the reason it works well for him is
Yeah.
because he's always working, he's always there, he's always the first one there, last one out. And so if you're not someone who works hard, don't get an office because your team will all know that you don't work and they will all hate you, you know? Um, Last thing I wanted to wrap up with, Tanner, was you mentioned, I think I think a lot of people don't post on social media because like I don't have a big following. And you hit on it briefly, but you're like when I
Mhm.
started posting, I had 700 followers on social media. You had no agents or two agents, and now you have 120 people that write every single month. But you built your social media brand like through insurance and through just doing sales training and talking about your lifestyle, all the stuff you do. So, what would your message be to people who are like, "Hey, I don't have a big social media, or I don't have a big warm market, so therefore I can't post on social media"? Because I hear that a lot from people. I'm like, you actually dispel that myth because you started with zero and built it while you were here.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well, I mean, first thing I'll say is like I was there. Like I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't want to do it. But it's pretty simple. Like it's a very black and white scenario. Like you either don't want to, post on social media because you care how people think, you're nervous putting yourself out there, or since this is the most duplicatable business in the world, if someone else grew a following from it, if someone else is recruiting at a high level and you really, really care about your goals, you will also be able to do the exact same thing. Because yeah, I might sound good on social media now. I might speak very confidently. I might be able to film videos, one set, two takes. Looking back, when I first started, I sometimes watch some of those videos and I'm like, damn, like that's me. Like that's still me, and that's what I show some of my new guys that like are nervous to do it. But we have the greatest business in the world, and it doesn't matter if you're making a lot of money or if you're not making a lot of money. People need this opportunity, and the best way to find them is posting on social media. Some people aren't making, 50,000 plus a month, but they're making 10, 15 grand a month. That's more money than most people make in this world. So just because like you haven't reached your goals, you've reached goals that other people in this world want to achieve, which means that you have a skill set to show them. And the only way to find them is to market yourself. Like, but if I didn't post on social media, I'd probably still have to sell insurance every day. Like I'll just put it that way. My entire team, pretty much everyone except for one person, I did not know before this business. And I always knew that my business would explode when I started to recruit people that I didn't know. And then I just broke down, well, how am I going to go out and do that? Well, the only way is to market myself. Now, when you market yourself, like really, really, really important to stay very, very consistent. And like if anyone asks me like how are you so good at social media? How are you so good at, training agents? How are you so good at recruiting? How are you so good at selling insurance? Like whatever it is, my response is always the exact same. Bro, I'm not really that good. I just show up every day. Like cuz I truly believe that. Like I've gotten good over time just cuz I was willing to do it consistently. Most people post a little bit, they don't see results and they stop, but you dial 500 people a day, and if you don't sell, you call the next day. So why don't we just view social media as the exact same thing? Because it literally is the exact same thing. You post for 30 days and you don't recruit anyone, you start whining and crying. Like it took me a while to get dogs. Like I just said, my seventh month, I recruited my first like actual stud. But if I would have stopped doing that, none of them would have came through. Like I just recruited some of the biggest guys in my city, but I've also been posting consistently for about 20 months straight. I started from 700 followers. I'm now a little over 7,000. That's in a year and a half. we're growing very, very consistently. But it was not like that early on. I used to send out 50 DMs a day, like really like 40. All of them used to tell me to screw off, that they're never doing insurance. And that was for like months straight. It took me 6 months to recruit one guy from outbound DMs. 6 months. Literally 6 months. I did it for 6 months straight. I didn't recruit one person from outbound DMing, but then finally, my seventh month, I recruited someone from it. And then I continued to do it. And now I recruit a lot of people from it. So you just have to have like your vision in place, your goal, and then understand that no matter what happens the day before, no matter what happens the month before, you're going to continue to do it. Because if there's people out there marketing themselves at a high level and recruiting people, you can also be in that position. You just have to be willing to do exactly what they did, which is being uncomfortable with having your face on social media, being uncomfortable with posting your bank deposits, being uncomfortable with explaining how hard the business is, explaining how beautiful the business is, and just being really, really real and really, really transparent. And then over time, you will gain confidence. Like it probably took me 2, 3 months of like fully posting to be confident, be okay with people trashing my DMs and sending hate comments because it used to get to me. I was like, oh, like, what if I could just scale this business like without having to do this? I've thought about that multiple times, but that's like the world that we live in. The easiest way to like build a business is to put it out there. So my biggest advice is just take it day by day. Just post a little bit more every single day. You'll get comfortable over time, but it really just comes down to how bad you want it. Like you either don't grow in this business because you don't know how to, or you don't want it bad enough. We all know how to. We all work at the best company. We have access to the best leaders. We have access to the best training. So we all know how to do it. The only reason why people don't succeed is they just don't want it bad enough. So sit down with yourself. This is what I tell people. This is what I did to myself. I would always just look at myself in the mirror. I'd have conversations with myself. It's like, do I really want to get to this next level? Yeah, I do. Okay. It's going to get really hard, Tanner. Like, are you really willing to like go through all of the hard stuff and obstacles that are about to happen? Oh, it's going to be hard, but no, I want it. I'm ready. And like I would just have those conversations with myself. So if you really want it bad enough, you'll take the steps on a day-to-day basis to get there. But I promise you, if you market yourself for a year and a half straight, which is exactly what I've done, you'll be further ahead if you didn't. You just have to have the delayed gratification because it might take some time.
For sure. And I saw someone like people always, I think, try to overcomplicate it. Tanner, someone just asked, like, what do I post? Like, just start posting stuff like about your business, about your sales for the day, someone you recruited, about your lifestyle, about a trip you like, just post everything that you're doing. Just share everything. And then, you know, it'll attract different people because some people want be more attracted to the lifestyle stuff, some are more attracted to the business stuff. But I think like anything else in this business, if you just start doing it and figure out what works along the way, that's what works best, right? And the other thing I wanted to add to what Tanner said is the great thing about recruiting is you don't have to be right a lot. Like if you're right a couple of times or what you're doing works a few times, then you'll build a really big agency. So if you do a lot of outbound DMs and it doesn't work, but one time it works, then that's all it takes. And you can have someone that you hire one Tanner and it adds 1.5 million a month to your business, right? You hire one Wiley, it adds 15 million a month to your business. You hire one Andrew Taylor, it adds 50 million a month to your business, right? And I think people are like, how do I get it to work a lot? It's like it doesn't need to work a lot. You just have to do it enough to where it gets the right person one time, you know? So, anyways, I don't want to take up too much time. We always try to keep it right at 30 minutes. Tanner, your growth is amazing. Appreciate everything you're doing for our group, for the company. You're an inspiration, dude. And looking forward to you tripling again, quadrupling, 10x in this year. Whatever your goals are, I'm sure you will hit them, bro.